Hey guys, sorry if I look and feel, you guys can't feel me. Sorry if I look and sound a little bit crunchy. I just woke up from a nap and it was a bit of a stress nap, so I definitely feel a bit on the crunchy side of things. Anyway, let's get into the video. Subscribe to the bell icon for engagement and I'll just get into the topic today. Ariana Grande. I don't think I've ever spoken about Ariana Grande in like a full video on my channel necessarily, but she's always stayed pretty, you know, just makes music, is famous. What's there to talk about? You know, she's great. Her relationships have been a point of, I guess, concern for some people, and this is no different this time. And I'm going to talk about that. So if you guys don't know, she's dated a few people, including, you know, Mac Miller, most famously. Like, I think that was the relationship that everyone kind of was rooting for, sadly. Pete Davidson, Big Sean. Famous people she dated. Anyway, that's, you know, and she always has like a small gap between the guys that she dates, what people consider to be a small gap. And I guess she gets the same type of criticism that Taylor Swift gets, which is like, oh, you know, you're a serial dater, you're just using one guy to get over another guy and all of this stuff, which, I mean, if she hadn't been famous, none of those criticisms would really happen. So it's kind of like a criticism purely because she's famous and we see these relationships happen. At the end of the day, they're not really any of our business, but the criticism is there. So over the pandemic, she separates from Pete, and then during the pandemic, we all find out that she's married, engaged and married during COVID. It was a small, you know, thing that she did, and she's been with the guy since. His name's Dalton. He is a real estate person in LA. He's not like a regular guy. He's a regular guy in the sense that he's not famous, but he's not like a middle-class normal guy by any means. He sells $1 million homes, like he's very wealthy. So I guess it was kind of a, she wanted maybe someone that wouldn't use her for money, but also wasn't famous and wasn't in the spotlight. Maybe there was like an element of normalcy to him that she really liked during the pandemic. And I feel like when you're in the pandemic, you're in like a love bubble. If they quarantined together, then they spent 24/7 together. They didn't leave the house. Like I bet it was almost like a love bombing situation, but not in like when one person tries to manipulate the other, like almost like them was just a love bomb because they just spent all their time together. So they ended up getting married, and we didn't even know she was dating anyone really. And then she was married. So people have been kind of side-eyeing this whole relationship this whole time, which once again, I mean, it's not really our business, but she is famous, so it kind of becomes our business. And people thought it was way too fast, and people thought it was just a way of getting over the previous guy, which was a way of getting over the previous guy, which was so on and so forth. They even recently, well, people noticed that they had tattoos for each other. He has a tattoo for her kind of around here, and she has one on her fingers that says 15. They did get married on the 15th of some kind of month. They've clearly made those, well, I think marriage is more of a commitment than tattoos, but you know what I mean. He has posted her recently for her birthday. She has posted him for their, like, one of their anniversaries sometime this year. Now, there was a video that was on TikTok and people were kind of calling it out and, you know, discussing it because she didn't have her ring on, and she acknowledged it and she said, oh, you know, I'm not wearing my ring on because it's getting cleaned, not because there's anything going on. Stop speculating. Like, just kind of trying to get ahead of, I guess, the curve. And this was a while back, so people kind of just ignored it and they were like, right, so she says she's still married, doesn't matter if she's not wearing a ring. Now, I go on Twitter one of these days and everyone is reporting on the fact that apparently they are currently separated, soon to be divorced, and they've been separated since January, but they've been trying to make it work kind of on and off. Now, she has been in London for a while. I think she's doing Wicked, but because of all the strikes, she's kind of just hanging around in London, and she has been seen without her ring again. And now, you know, there's that TikTok saying, oh my god, I'm not wearing my ring because it's getting cleaned, but it's like, how many times does it get cleaned? But she was seen without her ring. She went to Wimbledon to watch tennis, not with Dalton. She's not been seen with Dalton at all in public recently. So I guess people are speculating they're separating. Now, we thought that was just it. We thought like, right, okay, maybe there's this like rumor that they're separating and soon to be divorced, but there's really no proof for it other than the fact that she's not wearing her ring. And then TMZ reported that she's dating Wicked co-star Ethan Slater, who is actually currently married and has a child. And bear in mind, when he posted about having his child and this like romantic post for his wife, Ariana Grande liked that post because they've been co-stars for a while. So it'd be crazy if they were both like separating from their partners, not yet divorced, but already dating. And there are some pictures obviously of them together, that doesn't really prove anything. So Pop Tings tweeted Ariana Grande and new boyfriend Ethan Slater in a previously captured photo. Now, there are also some elements of like people are worried for Ariana. For example, Dalton has been seen with some other women and apparently he's been like dating as well. So then people are saying like, why is Ariana Grande getting all the flack, not him? Because like clearly they're both going on, moving on, dating on. And apparently the reason for their separation is because Dalton wasn't used to her fame, which makes me think that once again, getting married and like meeting and getting married during the pandemic led to them being in a situation where they didn't really understand what real life with each other would be like. I mean, spending 24/7 with each other, one, it's not really great for communication, because once you do have to get out there in the world, you can have jealousy issues, trust issues, you can have communication issues because you're not used to having to be apart and deal with that. So there's like little elements of like, they maybe should have waited to date kind of once the pandemic was done and see how that would work before tying the knot. But you know, that's you know, they've already done it, so whatever. But also, I think Ariana Grande seemed less famous to him during the pandemic because they weren't leaving the house, so there wasn't really much gossip, there wasn't much drama, she wasn't going out and getting paparazzi'd. And then once, you know, all the quarantining lifted, Ariana Grande went back to being famous Ariana Grande, and he couldn't really maybe handle that, like going out to dinners and having people interrupt you, etc, etc. But at the same time, like, you have to understand, even during the pandemic, even when you're not leaving the house, you're dating Ariana Grande. Like, Ariana Grande, the name, like, itself should have, you know, made things click in your head. So that was the reason for the thing. So people are kind of like side-eyeing him, I guess in the same way that people said the Taylor Swift and Joe separation happened, because apparently, you know, he's kind of an actor but not very well known. She's Taylor Swift. She's Taylor Swift. So he was apparently not very used to kind of her being so famous and so rich, and him being kind of like more normal in the grand scheme of things. Like, I guess compared to Taylor Swift, he's quite a normal guy. And people compared him to her other boyfriends, and he would always like try to stay out of the paparazzi shots and not really, you know, be like in the limelight with her, which, I mean, you know, so people said that their separation was probably due to him not liking her lifestyle, her being famous, her being constantly paparazzi'd and talked about, and then going on tours and performing from, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. So I think there's maybe that same element, and people are kind of making some of the connections and saying that this was exactly the same situation as Taylor Swift with Ariana Grande, like dating guys that seem maybe a little bit more normal, a little bit more down to earth. You like their lifestyle because it kind of brings you down to earth a little bit, but they can't handle your lifestyle because you're this massive superstar. So I guess celebrities take notes from these relationships and, you know, just date famous people, I guess. Now, she also did like some concerning posts, such as, "Never again will I be in a relationship with someone I fear." And I mean, people went through her relationships with, you know, Mac Miller. I don't think that's the one she's talking about. Pete Davidson, I don't know. I don't think she's ever said anything, but then again, maybe she didn't want to say anything. And then Big Sean, I don't know, people just didn't really think any of those would be to do with this, but then we'll never know. But just the fact that she's liking these things now, maybe there was an element of toxicity or even abuse, we don't know, you know, from this relationship. Like I said, maybe there was an element of them acting a certain way during the pandemic because they were together 24/7, but then once she is out in the world, maybe he was jealous, maybe there was some trust issues. So obviously we don't want to speculate. That is something that she has liked recently on Instagram. There was also a TikTok that Ariana Grande posted recently that I'm assuming we all saw, where she was addressing her weight and how she looks now, and because people were mocking her on Twitter and discussing her weight and her looks in a way that was disgusting. And she said that she lost a little bit of weight, and in that, people have focused now on when she says that you never know what someone is going through. So you should be kind of wary of what you say about people's weight gain / weight loss either way, because you don't know what people are going through. And people are saying, you know, is all of that stress related due to the relationship? And then liking this post, I guess people are now concerned for Ariana Grande, but I guess she will speak when she's ready to speak. But what we know for now is that the relationship is probably done. And yeah, that was a short-lived. I don't think people were super into this relationship. I think from the start, people kind of had mixed feelings, and those mixed feelings came true. So let me know what you guys think about any of this. Subscribe, like, comment for engagement, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.